Hello, I'm Amy and this is A-Star Reads. It's time for week 2 of my Orilium summer school. And I'm very excited because we're going to be starting...
questing.
Yes, so it's technically not week 2, it's still week 1, but we're starting our field studies today, Saturday. And are we excited? Are we excited, Mother?
Maybe. I don't always do the quest, but Amy said, let's try. So I thought, okay, I'll try.
We are starting off today checking out the quest, doing the first prompt. We don't know how far the prompt's going to take us. We don't know how many prompts there are. I haven't looked at anything as far as this quest goes. I do know that it's an alchemy quest.
Oh, okay. Alchemy is something I'm taking.
So wherever our adventure takes us, we'll be doing something alchemical, or we'll be saving the day, I guess, for an alchemist or something like that.
Heroes.
We are. So I have my iPad so we can look and see what the quest is. First alchemy class of the semester done. Phew. As you wipe the dragon scale powder off your robes and pick up your advanced alchemy workbook, you find a slip of paper underneath that you swear was not there before. With a gilded edge, it looks too formal to be a random piece of paper from another student's notebook. You look around. But most people have already left and there's nobody around. You lift it towards the light to have a better look at it, and the words start scorching into the paper. So there's fire.
Ooh.
Your name appears at the top, written in an unnervingly neat handwriting. As the embers do not stop and the words start bleeding into one another as the paper burns. You read the rest urgently. Cece's already in her little adventure, trying to get us to play with her. It says, I could use your assistance. If you're free, please come to my classroom after midnight. I've been informed by a reliable source that someone is going to try to remove me from my post. Oh. I need to stop this ploy, but I cannot do it alone. Auburn Bluewing.
There's 2 choices.
Okay.
Do not accept it.
Auburn.
Or there's accept it, and the prompt word is night in the title or nighttime on the cover.
Oh.
Once you finish this prompt, go to the alchemy classroom folder. It awards you 10 guild reputation points. So the first one's do not accept, you don't get any points.
Well, it says
we don't
go to
know.
the refuse folder. So there's a folder where you can go and see what happens if you refuse this. What do you want to do? Do you want to help Auburn Bluewing, or do you think I've got better ways to spend my time?
Night is kind of enticing. Night on the cover.
I guess we got to see what we have, right?
Something with night in there, or something with
or night on the
cover.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll come back to you when we figure this out. Guess who's putting on a show for us while we're filming this? Oh, you stop your show when I start filming. She does. She was like baton twirling all over the place, and now she's like, nah, I'm done. So, what do we decide?
Well, I'm going to accept. And I had to find a book that either said night on the cover or has a nighttime. And Amy just finished Station 11, and look at that.
Bring your head this way.
There's a tent.
No, bring your head this way.
There's tents. There's tents that are lit up, so the sky is a night sky. So I think this is a perfect.
Yep. And so that is Apocalyptic book, and we'll see what she thinks, because it's definitely very character driven and very detail driven, that book.
We'll see how I like it.
Yeah. And then I am going to pick On the Edge of Gone by Corinne Duivas. I've had this on my TBR for a while from the library. I do need to get it back. This is the March or April Autism Reads book choice, which I never got to. Our main character does have autism. This is a YA sci-fi, and they're trying to get off the planet before the planet ends or blows up, or something's supposed to happen that's bad. I think maybe an asteroid's coming to the planet. I'm not sure, but a lot of things get in the way of them being able to leave right away. So,
what was that English book where the planet was going to explode? And it was they used to have a radio program, and then they had the book.
Oh, War of the Worlds?
No, it was written in England.
Oh,
I don't know, it was really
you're thinking of the TARDIS one.
Yes. No.
Oh, you're thinking of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's it.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
That's what that sounded like, because at the beginning it's like, yeah.
It's nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
I don't think this is anything like that.
Hitchhiker's Guide.
But yeah, the planet's going to be ending, so that's
gotta get
similarity. Yeah, got to get out of there. And so we'll come back to you with a bit of an update once we have read a little bit of our books and gone a little bit on our adventure and see how we think about them.
See if we can help poor Aubrey?
Auburn.
Auburn.
Poor Auburn Bluing. We're hoping that
We don't want him to lose his job.
Yeah, we don't want him to get sacked. Okay, so we are ready to do our alchemy quest. We're ready to start reading our books and help poor Auburn Bluing. I think I completely forgot to mention why I picked On the Edge of Gone. And that's because, look, it's clearly nighttime where she's at. So it works. I think it works. And I'm glad to be getting to this book finally. After how many months? Okay, so just double check to make sure that the guy in the video actually is Auburn Bluing, the professor, and he is, which made Mom very excited because she thinks he's really good looking. It finally opened, my Martha Washington. Look at it, it's so pretty. It's so red. Oh, I love it. And these ones haven't opened yet, but they should be different colors, I think. But look at that. Oh my gosh, stunning. Look, we got Dottie's visiting. Dottie, say hi.
I wanted to take this moment to introduce you as well to our co-hosts for the next round of Seasonathon, which is Seasonathon Academy. So let me add these guys here.
Hi. Hello.
Hello. And Amy, you know, she's a teacher or working on becoming a teacher, so I thought that would be perfect for Seasonathon Academy, and I think it's going to be an amazing time.
Okay, so it is the afternoon, and I'm actually going to be going on a live show. As you'll have seen, I actually am one of the co-hosts for Seasonathon Academy with Melanie and Drew in the fall. So I'm very excited about that, but we are doing the after-hours show for Camp Seasonathon today so that everybody gets a chance to know us. So we're going to actually go grab some nachos, some takeout, because the theme today for what we're eating on Camp Seasonathon after hours is nachos.
Oh, good. I love nachos.
So most of today, aside from doing a little bit of reading this, but then being on the live show with Mel when she did the announcement, I have been editing, spending a lot of time editing the very first vlog for this. So I didn't get much reading done, and I'm only on page 26. I didn't get very far on this over 400 page book. I didn't think about that. Why would you pick an over 400 page book for a challenge like this when you're trying to get through as many as possible?
Because you just went after the word.
I know,
or the night.
Yeah, the night. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I was thinking about this being a library book, so I wanted to get it back to the library.
You have to read fast.
I know. Okay, so tell us, how are things going with Station 11? Because you've got more reading done than I have.
I've read 75 pages so far. I've been doing other things, but yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah. It's actually really fun. I guess fun isn't the word for apocalypse or whatever.
Apocalyptic. Yeah.
Apocalyptic book. But the writing is really easy to read. Mm-hmm. It goes back and forth in time.
Did you ever read The Dreamers by Karen Thompson?
I don't think so. That doesn't sound familiar.
That was when I read, like, the very first year that I started BookTube. I read it for the Reading Rush. And this kind of reminds me in some ways of that, because it was also that was an epidemic. There were so many more aspects to it as opposed to just focusing on the disease. Because this one, I feel like it is a pandemic book, but it doesn't focus the whole time on the pandemic. You're getting bits and pieces in these people's lives and stuff like that.
It already had mentioned Station 11. I didn't know what that meant, and I've highlighted that so that I can go back to it and see at the end of the book if I understand why they named it Station 11. I'm not going to tell you. Maybe at the end.
Funny. Okay, and as far as On the Edge of Gone, so there's a comet that's coming to actually hit the earth. They don't know how bad the impact is going to be. They don't know exactly when it's coming, but they have an estimate of when it should show up. And there are temporary shelters. There are some people that can afford to leave the planet. She was in high school up until they found out that there was a comet coming, because a lot of people have just kind of stopped living and started preparing for this big whatever ends up happening. They're running late. They should be already at the temporary shelter, but her mom just keeps stalling and stalling and stalling. her sister hasn't come back. She had gone to Belgium for like this end of the world sort of concert thing, and she's never come back. And her sister's like, I'm sure she's found her own shelter to be in, or something else has happened, but we have to go to our shelter, Mom. And Mom's like, just stalling and stalling and stalling, and they're running out of time. And on their way to where they're supposed to go for their shelter, they run into somebody they know, and her wife has broken her leg, and they have to deliver them to the place that they're going. And when they get there, they ask if they can take temporary shelter there. And it turns out it's a generation ship that's supposed to be departing the Earth once they figure out their technical difficulties. So the pilot of the ship is like, you're not staying here. You can stay here for a couple of days, 2 days max. But then we don't have any space for you. And so that's kind of where they're at the moment. So they have 2 days. We'll see what happens. What's the shape of the Earth after this? And you got to get out of the ship because we're leaving.
So how many pages are you into that? That sounds like a lot.
I'm only 26 pages in.
Yeah,
a lot
of information.
It's a quick and easy read as far as like the writing style goes. You can definitely tell this reads like a YA. I'm not like so drawn into it at the moment that I'm just excited to keep going, but I think that it's going to be a fun read. And I'm sure that I'll get more drawn into it as we go. It's just that I've got so much on my mind right now. And I've been reading so many books that starting a new one is just like not the most exciting thing for me today. Oh, and yeah, so Mom's reading Station 11 because I just finished this and I'm giving it a 4 stars. I never actually rated it the first time I read it. I really enjoyed it this time around as well. I think that this is all about the details. This book is all about the details, and there's really fascinating things happening in this, but it's not what you would expect, I would say. This book is definitely not what you would expect. As stressful as this book may be because it's about this wild pandemic, in the end, you have this feeling of contentment. And I don't get that feeling from books very often.
That's interesting.
But I'm excited to hear that you're enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I'm taking my time. Yeah. I typically read a lot of books really quickly, especially ones that I really like. I just whip through them. I wasn't exactly excited when Amy says you're doing this with me. You know, I can always say no, but it's fun to do things together. So I thought, okay, I'll do this. So who said?
She won't admit it at all.
Amy did just finish this. I had watched the video that she talked about it, and I was interested. I mean, we have lived through a pandemic. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness not as bad as this one.
Yeah.
Or even the 1918 flu was worse, wasn't it?
It was worse. It was like,
there weren't as many people on the earth, and a lot of people died.
These types of books are very scary. So I always say, like, know what you can handle before you go into these types of books. But I mean, I know that you can handle this.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Good morning! It's Sunday and another day of field studies. Let me tell you how far I made it with field studies yesterday. I didn't. I hardly read anything at all. I was frantically trying to edit my vlog and I didn't get that finished because it's so long because of that first introduction aspect of the video. And then I had a live show with Melanie from Completely Melanie and it went like 5.5 hours. And it was so much fun, but I didn't get anything else done, and I didn't get any reading done hardly at all. I did work on my buddy read last night, House of Earth and Blood, and I got caught up on the buddy read aspect of that, so that felt really good. And so at least I'm caught up on that. I'm on page 600, so I'm getting close to finishing that one off. It's pretty exciting, and I'm just enjoying it so much. I'm enjoying the read. I feel like there's a lot of twists and turns in this story. Things just change a lot. You know, you think things are going one way and then it changes again. You think things are going to go this way and then it changes again. And you really are loving these characters, but can you really trust them? I'm having such a good time with that particular buddy read. Today, we're going to go to our normal Sunday family. During the summertime when my aunt and my uncle are in town, we have Bloody Marys on Sunday and we visit with the family. So I'm excited about that. There's not going to be very many family members there because it's 4th of July weekend, so everybody's off doing things. But that's okay, because then we can spend more quality time with the family members who are there. And then I gotta get this video edited. It's just weighing on me. I want it done. So I'm gonna work on my video, and that's my plan for today. And then, yeah, I need to read my field studies book, because I have to be doing my field studies, and I'm not. And that's a over 400-page book. Those babies were born this morning. They were so adorable. I was holding on to the little boy, and he definitely was the runt of the two, but he was so sweet. And he just kept looking at me, and I kept stroking his little head, and he was so happy. I was just like, oh, baby. So that was wonderful. Now I'm back home, and I've been editing. I'm gonna get this video out. Probably not today, but I'll get it out first thing tomorrow morning. And I'm gonna do my first study session because on Tuesday, when I should have my lore course, I'm playing hooky again. Because we're gonna go see Jaws in theater. My neighbor's birthday was yesterday, and to celebrate, she wants to go see one of her favorite movies in the movie theater because Jaws is actually playing at one of our local indie theaters. But that means I'm going to miss my lore course, and I'm also going to miss my spells and incantations. But I'm so far ahead on that one, I'm not worried about it. This one, on the other hand, I need all the time I can get. So if I can make up for at least one of those hours that I'll be missing, I think that's a good deal. So I'm going to read for an hour and see how well it goes. I'm actually looking forward to it because our main character is going to be taught by a different teacher than she was supposed to be taught. And he's a very quirky, interesting character that everybody has a lot of negative things to say about. And he doesn't have a lot of patience for a lot of other people as well. But he has taken an interest in our main character, Rin. And I'm very curious what kind of relationship, teacher-student relationship they're going to have, because he just doesn't seem like your typical teacher. He's really very self-interested. So I'm very curious what he has to teach her. So that's what I'll be doing for the next hour. I'm going to be making up for this. I know I should be reading for my field studies, and I will. I have the rest of today, aside from editing, to work on field studies. But I really do think I should get an hour of this one in because I'm just nervous about this class. I'm nervous about this class because it's such a long book. Okay, so I'm a little blown away because our character is starting to train with this lore master, and he's trying to encourage her to pledge lore, and it's pretty incredible that I chose this for my lore class when it's all about lore. Like, this book is all about lore. And so I'm like, wow, that was like perfection. It's pretty incredible. Okay, so I didn't have a little donut mold thing, so I made star donuts, which is actually perfect because it's the 4th of July weekend. So there's my cute little donuts. They feel very dense. So this recipe of baked donuts is definitely a dense one. I have no clue how they're going to taste, so we'll try them in a little bit. I'm just waiting for the other ones to come out. But they look really cute, even if they feel a little heavy. Okay, here goes. They taste like donuts, so that's good. They are dense, but very cakey, so more like a cakey donut. The flavor's really good, though. I'm impressed. And I'm curious to find out how they actually fit within the book, so I'm going to get to reading here, because I have about 15 more minutes of my class time. I spent most of my class time cooking the donuts.
Wow, these are so good. I've already bit off one of the stars. It's actually, I know I keep saying dense, but it's really light and fluffy tasting. I really like this donut.
Okay, so I only got about 5 pages read, but I'm right in the middle of a very uncomfortable scene. And I mean that in a bad way. Like, it's a bad uncomfortable. I feel really bad for Britta that she's going through this, because I haven't gone through something exactly similar as this, but I've gone through similar things. And it's like, yeah, there's definitely a couple of things that she mentioned in this where I was like, oh, yes, I resonate. Like, I have been there. I have felt that. And I like when I can connect to a character like that, when I can understand where they're coming from. So I am enjoying this, and it was a bummer that I can only read 5 pages, but I did spend most of the morning making those donuts. And I was also up really late finishing the week 1 video and getting it posted. So I didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked, and I ended up having to wake up pretty close to I woke up exactly at my class time when it started. So then I rushed into the house and was making my donuts, and I made them. So I'm feeling good about that, and we'll have them for a couple of days because there's a lot of leftovers. So I got a mama here because we wanted to do a bit of a recap on our field studies, we were too tired to do that last night.
We were tired.
Very tired. So tell us how far you got on your field studies and what you're thinking.
So station 11, I'm on page 190. So I got quite a ways.
Oh yeah, you're more than halfway.
Yeah, I really like it. And I was curious about the name of it, Station 11. So these two little bookmarks here are where they reference Station 11. I can't wait till next weekend. Amy says I can't read this until next weekend.
Not until field studies continues.
Darn it.
She's kind of stuck. But you have other books you can read.
Oh, I have lots of books, but you know, once you get into a book, it's hard to put it down. But I'll put it down for Orilium.
Well, if she's lucky, maybe I'll finish one of the books that I'm working on.
Oh, I can do 1 hour like you can?
Well, during my school time. So like my class time, you can do it with me because that's when field studies will happen. I have a lot longer to go.
She was busy this weekend.
I was busy this weekend. But last night, while my video was uploading forever, I did sit down and try to read quite a bit of this, and I'm on page 92. I am not enjoying this. It's just a pacing thing. Like the pacing is not what I want it to be. The representation though, the autism representation in this is incredible. There is a lot about what our character is going through, considering how stressful the situation is. It's a very stressful situation. And they are on this generation ship, but she's trying to figure out ways to, for one, find her sister, because her sister had gone off and they haven't found her yet. And two, she's dealing with her mom, and her mom is a drug user. And so that's very stressful right now in the situation that they're going through, because she's using at the moment. And three, she's trying to convince these people on this generation ship to keep them, but she keeps having meltdowns. So she's having a really hard time expressing herself and showing them the value that their family has to be able to keep them on this ship.
You mean they can get rid of them anytime they want to on that ship?
They weren't supposed to be on that ship. They only got
they
there.
do jettison them out into space?
The ship hasn't taken off because it was having technical difficulties. So they're going to fix the ship. They're planning on leaving on Thursday. The only reason they took them in for 2 days, they said you can only stay for 2 days, is because they had helped her old teacher, the main character's old teacher, whose wife had broken her leg. And so they helped them get to the generation ship. Okay. And then they said, okay, well, because you helped them, you can stay here for 2 days. But because they have such a long waiting list, they really don't want that many people on the ship because they're going to be out in space for generations and they only have so much resources and stuff like that. They're very strict about not letting people on who either don't contribute or just they're not really letting any new people on. But our main character is convinced that she can convince them to keep her family. And
well, I got my fingers crossed for her.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good book.
For sort of an apocalyptic sci-fi, I expect the pace to be a little more clippy, there's just so much happening and it should be so dramatic, and it is dramatic. There's a lot of drama happening, but it's definitely not a pace that makes me want to pick it up and go, okay, I'm ready to read more. Like, you're so excited to get back to Station 11, and I am looking forward to reading the rest of this, but I'm not anxious to get back to it. I have other books that are pulling my attention a lot more right now.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you love
I
all
do.
the books you're reading
I have a
right
lot
now.
of really good books going right now. So what are you going to do for the rest of the week now that you're not doing field studies?
I've got books. I've got television shows. I've got puzzles. I've got lots of stuff. And gym. We're going to the gym on Wednesday and Friday. It was closed today.
And tomorrow. Yeah.
Well,
it's closed because of 4th of July.
And I've got physical therapy. So, I mean, I'm doing good.
She's got her things. I have classes still because I'm in summer school. So I will let you know what's going on with that later on today after I do some of the stuff around the house and then take my classes, and we'll see how far along I get. Maybe we'll be doing more field studies before the weekend comes. Look, see, now she's actually excited about field studies, even though she was complaining about it before. The other day, all of a sudden, the mailman comes around and hands me a box. And I don't know why I have a box because I don't remember ordering anything. But it's for me, so let's see what I got. Oh, Amy, congrats on ending the school year. I know you're going to be a fabulous teacher. It has been such fun buddy reading with you, from Jean. So this is from my wonderful subscriber and friend, Jean. We've been buddy reading Station 11 together, and it has been such a great time just getting a chance to talk to her and really hash through this book because it's a reread for me. But whenever you reread something, you think more about the details, the stuff you didn't notice the last time you were reading it, and we just had a great time. So thank you so much, Jean. And she got me one of my favorite picture books right now. This is The Little Wooden Robot and the Log Princess by Tom Gauld. And if you haven't checked out my picture book challenge thing that I did, because I was taking a literature course and I was ranking the books I read each week. I think I read 8 books each week, and then I had 7 weeks that I did this for. And this was one of my top books. This is one of the books that ended up in the very last, and I am so excited about this because this is a book I want to share with my students every year. I love this book so much. If you haven't read it, it's such a fun fantasy. I think it's so beautifully done. The artwork is stunning. I feel like the fantasy aspect of this is so fun because it's a lot more modern, and it brings in a lot of diversity in just the types of characters that we have and the adventures they go on. And you know, it's got some great messages in it, and it's beautiful. It is so beautiful, and it was so heartwarming, and there were parts of this that I was giggling, and I can't wait to read this to my students. So thank you so much, Jean. I am so excited, and I appreciate buddy reading with you as well. Okay, so it's Monday evening, and I'm in between that period where I've finished my afternoon courses, my required courses for Monday, and then now I have homework that's a possibility in the evening. And so Legends and Lattes, I'll get a half an hour for that, which I definitely will read for that. As far as spells and incantations, reading Amy's eyes, I don't know. I do want to get through these books as quickly as possible now that I've created that, like, if I get them done, I can use that class time for field studies. I'm really motivated to do that. But today I'm just feeling kind of, not bad, it's just kind of, I'm tired, and I don't really feel like doing anything. And so that's kind of my vibe today. And I had a lot of ideas of things I want to do, like yard work and this and that. And I'm like, nah. That's kind of how my reading felt today. I did a lot of reading of Untamed for animal studies, and I got over halfway for that one. And then, of course, Recursion for demonology, I'm over halfway for that one as well. But for both of those classes, like the second half of the class, I was just getting antsy, didn't feel like reading anymore. Like, Recursion is very exciting right now. There's so much happening. And for the first 45 minutes, I was just like consuming the story. And then for the last 45 minutes, even though there's so much going on, I was like, I'm ready to put it down. I'm just tired. I think I'm just tired of reading. Today's a day where the schedule is not my friend because I really want to read Poppy War. And I was only able to read like 12 pages of that during my lower homework time today because that's really all I gave myself time to read. But then I was like, oh no, the timer's going off and I just really want to read Poppy War. So at the moment, that's all I feel like reading. And I can't. And I know that I won't be able to read it for 2 hours tomorrow. There's a lot of mosquitoes out here right now. Sorry, they're bugging me. I'm gonna walk towards the house and get away from them. As far as Untamed is going, I really am enjoying so many aspects of this. And there was this one section, this one chapter called Boys that was incredible. And there's quite a few chapters actually here talking about children. And this is mostly about upbringing of children, you know, when you're a parent. But there was aspects and thoughts that I really thought were applicable to being a teacher as well. So I was like, I got to write some of these quotes down because there were some things that she was saying in there that were really resonating with me. And I was like, oh, I need to make sure that I use this with my classroom because there were things about vulnerability and how vulnerability is actually bravery. And one of the things I thought was really cool, sorry, the bugs are really on me. One of the things she said that I thought was really cool was she was having these discussions with her son and his friends. And they were talking about serious subjects, you know, just more vulnerable subjects. One of the boys had opened up a bit vulnerably, not like horribly so, but just communicating more. And his friends started giggling and laughing at what he was saying. And Glennon and Doyle stopped and said, your friend's vulnerability, what he's showing you right now, is incredibly brave of him. So you need to be brave and be able to listen to what he's saying and not laugh. It is also about that vulnerability of being able to accept what other people are saying. Even if you don't agree with them, it's just being able to listen, being able to hear, and being able to take this communication seriously. It's a hard thing sometimes, and we do tend to use humor and jokes to like relieve that tension for ourselves. There were little sections like that in this particular section I was reading today that I was just really impressed by, and I wanted to remember those things. Good morning! It is Tuesday, so it is typically one of my long school days, but today is a holiday. It's July 4th, and we're going to go watch Jaws in the movie theater. So I will be playing hooky, but you know, on holidays, usually you don't have to go to school, and my professors are like, if you can't make it to class today, not a big deal. Thank goodness, because I'm missing 2 classes. I'm missing lore and I'm missing spells and incantations. In about 10 minutes or so, my demonology homework session starts, and that goes for 2 hours. I definitely won't be reading Recursion for the next 2 hours. However, I will read for part of it because, like I said, I'm not going to be doing much reading today. As far as Legends and Lattes goes, you know, obviously I can't give you too much of an update because I don't want to spoil anything. But it's not even really one of those books where you're spoiling things. It's more just a vibe, and it's all about the characters. I was sitting into it with my coffee and my donut this morning and just enjoying the feel of this book. This is a perfect book to go and take to a coffee shop and sit there and read, or go to the beach and read. Like, it's a really good summer read just because of how cozy it is. So I highly recommend, if you're just looking for a holiday book or something where you just want to enjoy your time, take your time, no rushing through this book. I don't feel like this book should be rushed through because it is meant to be a cozy read. I say pick up Legends and Lattes and just sit and enjoy it. Being outside reading it would be nice. Like, it is such a beautiful morning, minus all the bugs that are out here this morning. For some reason, the bugs are going wild this morning. But aside from that, it would be nice to sit out and read Legends and Lattes. So, highly recommend if you're looking for something this summer, or next summer if you're not in this hemisphere. I recommend picking up Legends and Lattes at a time when you can just relax. Okay, so since I'm sort of obsessed with my plants right now, I wanted to show you that this one is getting ready to open. And so is this one, which that's going to be a really pretty one because it's like a dark orangey almost. And then all my Martha Washingtons have opened. Look at these. They're so pretty. And I thought they were all different colors, but it turns out they look like they're all the same colors. I could have swore I clipped off different colors from different plants. Yeah, everything is looking really nice. I'm getting more and more blossoms, and I didn't realize I picked a lot of the same colors because apparently I like pinks and oranges. Also, I showed me watering them, but I never actually showed you what I have going on in this planter. It gets a little dusty, but I have some pansies and some snapdragons and a lot of really pretty colors. That one is dead. But I got some really cool colors in here. And then this, of course, is just a planter with these guys. And then this rose bush has taken a little while, but it's finally opening. And it is a yellow rose. Look how pretty that is. I see. So there is significance of the protein bar with the candle taped onto it. That's cute. And it's cute to see where some of the aspects of the Five Senses book box are coming into play when I read the book. So like the candle's called for Bubbles. Well, her nickname is Bubbles for a reason that we find out in the story. I don't know about any of the drinks or the donut yet, but I definitely now know that the protein bar with the candle attached to it has meaning. So that's pretty cute, and it's really neat how they did these little nods to not only give you the vibe of the book, but actually bring back factors of the book. Good morning. It is Wednesday and it's the day after 4th of July. So it's really nice because I got up, went to the gym this morning, really needed that. And it actually felt really good. Yesterday, Jaws was fantastic. Seeing that in theaters was so much fun. We had such a good time. And it was, of course, wonderful for my neighbor because it's her favorite movie. It was her birthday and she's never seen it in theaters before. So like that was awesome. And so it was great. It was so good. I forgot how exciting and how scary that movie actually is because it's been a very long time since I've seen it. Last night was good. I did some reading, of course, for my inscription course. And then the fireworks were going wild last night. And luckily, my dog and my cat are totally fine with fireworks, except around 10, they like really started going. And so the animals were like, should we be concerned about this? And I was like, we're okay. And they were like, okay, not sure. But it was pretty fun. And there's a new season of Alone, which is a show from the History Channel that I love. There's 10 contestants and they have to try and survive out in the wilderness. And I really love Alone. So we started watching a couple episodes of that last night. So that was a lot of fun. So today I'm feeling more energetic. I'm feeling ready to do stuff that I need to do, like yard work, housework, stuff that I have been kind of putting off the last 4 days. It was nice to have a holiday break. And I've got my courses that I need to take. So this morning I did read for inscription for about 45 minutes and that was great. There's just something about that romantic vibe that works really well in the summer. And so I'm enjoying that a lot. Even if this book took me a little while to get into because the writing style didn't feel my perfect writing style for what I enjoy. I'm enjoying the conversations that are being had as far as like representation of being a fat person as well as how we're perceived. And then the romance is heating up and it's just sweet. It's cute. It's fun. Like it's exactly what I want to be reading right now. So that's that. I could really stand to spend time reading lore. So I'll try and sneak at least part of my homework session for that one in. You know, the evening homework sessions are usually no problem. I read better in the evening. And so it's usually just during the day when I want to get things done or I have things planned that this schedule does get a little restrictive. But I don't feel too bad considering I skipped 2 classes yesterday. Although actually I still had like a half an hour to read for that course, Spells and Incantations. And so I did read during that time. So I'm trying to stick to it as much as possible. Okay, so I just finished my class for demonology and it was wild. I haven't finished Recursion yet, but I'm getting closer and closer to the end because things are really, really ramping up now and things are just changing and I kind of have an idea of what our main character is going to have to do. And I have an idea that the only way to fix this problem is, well, I can't tell you. All the things that are happening, it just seems unbelievable. And all the things that are scary about sci-fi. You know, when you think of sci-fi, you think of time travel, you think of how bad things can get. Well, they can get even worse than that. So it's pretty incredible. Thinking about the kind of power that individual people or countries can wield and how that can affect the whole world. Scary, very scary. Recursion's scary. Like, this is definitely more unnerving. I think that I would say ultimately at this point, I really loved Dark Matter from the beginning to the end, and it felt like a 5-star read the whole way through. I'm not sure that Recursion's going to be that same 5-star read that Dark Matter was, but this is way more scary than Dark Matter ever was. Definitely, way more scary. It's exciting though, and I'm really excited to get back to it because I'm definitely at a part where, I mean, we're pretty far along. So the story is moving and I've got to find out what happens. I did also do both my homework and my class for animal studies, so I'm that far along in that one. So as far as my other classes go, I'm making really good progress. It's just the Poppy War that I'm loving. I'm really, really loving it. And at this point, we're seeing some of Rin's abilities, and it's incredible. She is frightening. And the power she has is frightening because she doesn't know how to wield it. And so she's gonna hopefully get some help with that soon. But her anger and her frustration with the life she has lived could be her undoing if she's not careful. So I'm looking forward to seeing where her character goes, and hopefully there will be a certain level of control. There's definitely some strange moments in this, and the humor is a little mature at times. You're like, what? Well, let's just say maybe a doll doesn't make the best human. A new geranium has opened and it's this beautiful orangey red color. I love it. And quite a few are close to opening. This one is really close to opening. And I haven't had this one open before, so that'll be fun. Hello, it's Editing Amy, and I'm editing this, and I have a section where I'm doing a book haul in this video, and I noticed that the very first clip disappeared. I have no clue where it went. So I'm gonna tell you about the first book that I was talking about in my haul, and that is Bewilderment by Richard Powers. My library has a little bookstore, and they have books anywhere from 50 cents to $3, and this one was $2, and it's a really nice copy. It looks like it hasn't been used much. The binding's not cracked or anything, so maybe it hasn't been read that much. I have heard great things about Richard Powers' writing, and I do have the Overstory, his book about trees, on my 45 to read before 45 books to read before I turn 45. And I think that one has a lot to do with like climate science and stuff. This one, I'm not exactly sure what it's about, but I've heard good reviews. Some of the people whose opinion on these types of books, these literary fiction books, I really appreciate and I agree with. So I'm hoping that based on those reviews, I will love this. And it was $2 and I saw it and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up. So eventually I'll let you know what this is all about when I figure out for myself what it actually is about. The second two books actually came from a little free library. So was it my May TBR Game of Bookish Life? I landed on a spot that asked me to go to a little free library, and when I tried quite a few different libraries, I ended up stopping off at this one where I found The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which I have been wanting to read for a very long time, and I still have not read it. So yay, good job, Amy. But at that same little library, there were two other books that I was interested in picking up. This is an Oxford translation of the famous 1001 Arabian Nights story, and I've never read this story, and I don't know if Geraldine McCaffrey is the best translator for this, but we're gonna try it. It didn't seem to get really bad reviews, and I'm not sure much about the different versions of 1001 Arabian Nights and who has the best translation of it. But I figured this was free and I want to check it out, and Mom was interested in checking it out as well. So I picked it up. After reading Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, I was very interested in reading more of his works because I really like his humor and writing style. And you know, he's very satirical and I tend to like satirical books. So in that little free library, I saw Bluebeard by Kurt Vonnegut and I decided to pick this up so I could read more of his novels and see if I like it. I did put one of his books on my 45 before 40. It's not this one because they have to be books that I don't own. But you know, I don't think I've heard too many reviews or anything of Bluebeard, this one. So I don't really know what it's about at all. I just picked it up because it's Kurt Vonnegut and we'll see. I'm imagining if it's Bluebeard, to me that seems pirate-y, but I don't know. And then we have a local used bookstore called Henderson's, which I absolutely love. It's a great bookstore. And they have this one section where there's all these newer books or books who've come out recently or books that are in really good quality shape. And one of the books that I saw on that shelf was The Covent Garden Ladies by Hallie Rubenhold. Now, I'm very interested in this one because I did start watching this show Harlots, the BBC series Harlots. It didn't go very long. Did it continue and I just haven't seen the newer releases of that show? I remember enjoying the show a lot until it was no more. But this book was what Harlots was based off of. So this is a nonfiction about sex workers in London in the 18th century. I love history in general, but because I enjoyed this show, I kind of was curious to see what the actual history behind this was. And Hallie Rubenhold is known for The Five, the other book that she has written that is really well known that people really love. So I'm curious to see how this one is. It didn't get quite as good reviews, but I'm still very interested in it. And then finally, very recently, I was at Costco, and you know, you can't help besides walk over to where all the books are at Costco because they are definitely a bit cheaper, and take a gander. And I saw Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood, and I have been collecting the Ellie Hazelwood books thanks to Natalie. Natalie from Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe has started my collection of Ellie Hazelwood romances. I still haven't read the second book that I got, but I'm very excited to read more of Ellie Hazelwood. And my neighbor said this one is her favorite. So I am so happy that this was at Costco for, I think it was $10. And it's a nice, one of the big paperbacks. And I just can't wait to do some more reading of Ellie Hazelwood's work. I'm excited that this one was so well loved by my neighbor too. So I look forward to reading both of the other Hallie Hazelwoods that I haven't read yet. I think all of a sudden my lack of sleep is starting to catch up with me because I'm reading The Puppy War Not bored. It's not bored. I can't keep my eyes open. I'm drinking coffee. I still have about 45 minutes left of this class, and I'm just struggling. The struggle is real. We're at a point where Rin has become an apprentice, and she's learning so much more about the field that she's gone into. We're learning, as she's learning, about the history of so much of Nakara, but also the significance of the work that she's trying to learn about, what her line of study is. Her instructor is requiring her to do a lot of the research herself. So she's trying to dig deep and find information, and it's just information heavy. And so my brain is just tired. And I'm tired, and I haven't been getting enough sleep for like the last 2 weeks. I should be getting more sleep, but I can't seem to get myself to bed earlier than 11 or 12 each night, and then I tend to wake up at a certain time every morning, especially with these classes. So I'm hoping to make it through the next 45 minutes. And then I have another 2 hours of class. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll take CC outside in between, so maybe wandering around and walking will help me wake up a bit. Okay, so I did read less during lore this time around, but that's okay because I still read 41 pages, and I think the highest I read during that 2-hour class for the Poppy War specifically, thinking about my pace of reading that book, was 52 pages, so I'm a little off, but not so bad, considering how hard I was struggling. But I think my coffee's finally kicked in. I did go sit outside for a little bit, not very long, but just enough to hopefully wake me up a bit. And I am gonna get started on Amy's Eyes. I've got my class for this now. There are definitely some very quirky characters in this book, in Amy's Eyes. And we've got a duck who not only thinks pretty highly of himself, but has some interesting ideas about what his role should be on this ship. Also, I'm still struggling to stay awake. This whole afternoon, 1 to 5, it's a long time to read, but especially long when you're sleepy. And I've been sleepy all afternoon. I've got 1 hour left. I haven't made very much progress in this book at this point. I'm just gonna do what I can. 1 more hour. I can do this. There's this like roundabout way the captain and his first mate keep communicating with each other. And it's both funny and completely aggravating. And you're like, come on! You know, you're both interpreting it the wrong way. You want them to communicate better. Communication is key. But it's also funny because the misinterpreting they're doing with the way they're communicating is hilarious. Like, it really is. But at the same time, it's also aggravating. Okay, so I made the painkiller drink, and it's got rum, pineapple juice, orange juice, coconut cream, and a brown sugar simple syrup in it, and just a little bit of sparkling water. I didn't have enough room to put a lot in there. So let's see if it's any good.
Cheers.
Cheers. Very fruity.
It's very fruity. I taste the coconut. I taste the orange juice. What else was in there?
Rum.
Yeah, taste the rum. I don't know about the simple syrup.
Pineapple. You probably wouldn't taste simple syrup too much because it's more just adding
The pineapple,
sweetness.
okay.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, tastes yum.
Woohoo!
And
Painkiller.
It's so hot today.
Yeah, it's really warm.
Perfect.
You really can't taste the rum actually, so that's kind of a scary thing.
Yeah, because once I start reading and all words start bouncing around on the page, I'm in trouble.
Well, you know there's enough alcohol in there when you're already sweating up a ton, and I've only drank a little bit. I mean, it's really hot in our house, but not hot enough that I should be sweating this hard. Good morning. It's Friday and I worked my shoulders and my back out pretty hard this morning, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to hold up my camera. And I've already got my conjuration homework in. I read for about 40 minutes. That romance, it actually has quite a bit more difficult subject matter, especially about drug abuse, than I expected it to. I kind of expected it to be a little more light, and it has light moments for sure, especially because all the texting is really flirty. It's really fun. But we're getting into some of the really heavy stuff that Wes is going through with his family. And it's a lot for him. He's struggled all his life because his mother has abused drugs for his whole life. And so there's just a lot of really difficult subject coming up. And so it's emotional. And I've been feeling pretty emotional reading this. I have been enjoying it. It's surprising how the writing wasn't working for me at the very beginning, but it's really taken off and I've enjoyed it a lot more as the time has gone on. And I'm really liking these characters a lot. I feel like I have more of an affinity for the male character, but I love the perspective of Britta because I think I just need to be reading more plus-size romances. I need to read more books where I can see myself in the main character. And very rarely do I find books, aside from books that are specifically made to be plus-size protagonists, very rarely do I find books that just have fat characters as the main character. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. So having that perspective is, I don't know, it's really nice. I mean, I totally understand how important representation is. Feeling that representation in a book makes you feel. It's a very important thing. So I should be reading more books like this. Already, the mosquitoes are out already. They're eating me. So I'm gonna go inside because I'm tired of this. I need to at least spray myself down with some bug spray. Good morning. It's Saturday and it's field studies weekend. So I'm very excited to hopefully make some progress in On the Edge of Gone because I'm 96 pages in, 92, and there's a lot of book here. I do have to work on editing this video and hopefully getting this up tomorrow. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I wanted to give you a bit of an update as to where my reading is for the end of this week, how my courses went, how my homework went, what my books are looking like. I had a really good time last night. I didn't get any homework done in the evening, but I did get to visit some friends and it was so much fun. We spent quite a few hours together and just laughed and had a good time, and it felt great to get out of the house because, you know, I've been needing that lately. So at the end of this week, here's where I'm at with these books, and you can see that I've made quite a bit of progress on some of them. I'm a little concerned about one, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let me go through them and tell you where I'm at. So for Demonology, Recursion, this one I am really close to finishing, and I'm hoping that on Monday when I have my course, my hour-and-a-half course, I can finish that one. I don't know for sure, but it's doable. I'm currently on page 268, and what is frightening about Blake Crouch's writing is that he uses enough scientific knowledge of his own and probably what he's done research on to be able to create a world that seems realistic. These things are imaginable, and that makes it even more frightening because there's just some scenes in here that are so extreme, and he goes into detail about them, so you're like, there's some very extreme moments in this book. Then we've got Legends and Lattes, and as you'll see, I've only got like less than 30 pages to read of that one. And I'm on page 285, right there. Loving this book, which has been such a great time getting to know these characters. I am at the point where everything has kind of happened and we're just sort of settling things out, finishing out the story. And so it's a weird place to stop because I'm like, okay, you know, I'm pretty much at the end. I just need to finish these last couple of chapters. Monday when I have homework time for Conjuration, I'll be able to finish the little bit at the end there. And I'm looking forward to it. Then we've got Amy's Eyes by Richard Kennedy, and I am making progress in this one. You know, I didn't spend a lot of time doing homework or even courses this week on this one, but at least when I have sat down with it, I've been able to make some progress. I'm currently on page 248, and this one, even though I've got quite a bit left there, it reads so quickly because it is middle grade that I should have no problem getting this one done. And this one is so interesting because it is one of those books where I really do, from moment to moment, either am really interested or not so interested. Really interested, and I don't feel like that happens a lot with books. I feel like either I'm not interested and I get to a point where I am interested, or I'm not interested, or I'm really interested. But this one, it's like from moment to moment in this book, or scene to scene, or situation to situation, I'm really interested and excited, and I feel like the humor is funny, and I feel like some of the scenarios are very unique and creative. And then I get to a point where I'm just, and not even bored necessarily, just not quite as interested. Then we've got Inscription, My Romance, The Fastest Way to Fall. And I made a lot of progress on this one this week, and I'm really having a good time with it. It's grown on me so much. The characters have really grown, and there's so much more to this now than there was at the beginning. So I'm currently on page 226 and ready to get back to this. I think I just want to read romance right now. I just want some romance. It's hot girl summer, right? So I should be reading about all these hot girls. Then we've got Animal Studies Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and I am almost done with this one, and I probably could have gotten it done, but I was a little distracted. Yesterday was not the best reading day for me. Friday. I did make quite a bit of progress in this, and I'm currently on page 290, and I will definitely get this one done on Monday because I have a half an hour of homework, an hour of class, and I'm pretty sure I can get that completed in that time. I'm enjoying so many of the messages in this one, and there's so many good quotes or things that really resonate for me that make me think about the choices I've made in my life and how I want to move forward with my life. And it does make me actually want to go back and read this again and annotate it. And I'm not an annotator, but I feel like there's so many quotes in here that I want to remember and I want to think about and I want to actually use in my classroom even, because I felt like there were some things that were just really important messages that, I don't know, I've just really been enjoying this, and I'm enjoying her perspective. But I feel like there's a lot that you can get from this, being that it's a memoir. You're learning more about her experiences, but at the same time, she's sharing enough of her wisdom through her own experiences that there's information that you could take from it and apply it to your own life. And so I can see why this would be recommended for someone by a therapist. And finally, the class that I'm nervous about. Still nervous about it. The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I'm really enjoying so much about this, but it is so dense. There's so much military, historical information. There's a lot of logic in here that you have to think about what these characters are trying to understand. But then, of course, there's the lore and there's the spiritual aspects of it. There's so much information in this book that it just feels a little dense when you're reading it, and not in a bad way, just in a way that I don't think I'm going to get it done before my classes are over. I'm definitely going to be reading this for my study sessions this weekend, today and tomorrow. I need to use both of those hours. But then I have to have this done by Thursday because my last class for lore, is on Thursday. So that's a little unnerving because I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm currently on page 212. I'm going to work as hard as I can, and I'm not resenting this book because of that. I'm loving this book. I just know that the way my reading is and how much time I have left, I don't think it's going to happen. But, 1 out of 6 is not bad. I want to quickly go over the other books that I'm currently reading because I have a little bit of an update. As far as House of Earth and Blood, I'm still doing my buddy read with Di on this one, and we are there. We're only reading about 2 chapters a night, and that's kind of worked out for us. I'm currently on page 670, so not too much longer in this one. We will be able to finish our buddy read pretty soon. I think we're in the quiet before the storm at the moment. I think a lot is about to happen. They're currently at the summit. Everybody's saying how bored they are at the summit. I have a feeling that's going to change. I can't imagine it's going to continue that way. So I am very excited to see what happens next. And then the audiobook I'm currently listening to, A History of Wild Places by Shea Ernshaw. I actually was able to make more progress. I haven't listened to it in the last couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden I've had some time to listen to it. So I'm 90% of the way through this one, and we figured a lot of things out. And we're just going to see how everything resolves itself, and it's looking pretty dire for a couple of the characters. We'll see how it goes. The twist itself wasn't super surprising. I guess it was just kind of like it could be this or it could be that, and this one makes the most sense. But I don't know that it's the most exciting way to resolve this. And overall, I have really been enjoying this particular story for the atmosphere. The audiobook is really good. I really like the audiobook of this. Is it my favorite thriller / mystery? Probably not, but I'm at least having a good time listening to this when I get a chance to sit and listen to it. I have been able to make a little more progress in I Married a Dragon by Regine Abel. This is the 6th book in the Prime Mating Agency series, and it's a little monster smut that I had picked up because I just wanted to have a little bit of a palate cleanser. And I'm enjoying it still. I'm not enjoying it as much as I was at the very beginning, but I'm still really enjoying it. I like these characters. So we'll see if I have a chance this week to pick it up. I don't know if I will because I do need to start The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. This is the group read for this month for Bookstar Read-Alongs, the 3rd book in the Bone Season series. And I have to have this done by the 22nd. So I've got to read like 25 pages a day. And I don't know how that's going to fit into my schedule, but I have to make it work. So I have a feeling this is going to take precedent over some of my other reads outside of my challenge. I'm going to end this video here, and the field studies for this week will be included in the final vlog to see how things go when I finish out all these books. Wish me luck that I can make progress in the Poppy War. At least, I mean, I know I can make progress. Wish me luck that I can get this one finished by Thursday. So we'll see. But the other ones will, and the second that I finish any of these other books, that class time will be going towards field studies. It wasn't very bright of me to pick such a long book for my first quest prompt, but you know, it is what it is, and so we just gotta move forward. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens in the third week of my time blocking challenge at Orilium Summer School. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.